What's up, everybody? It's Mighty Joe W here, and I haven't talked about sports in too long. For anyone that knows me, know I love my sports, and with the Super Bowl coming up, there's some topics that I have to get on. Let me just quickly address the whole Richard Sherman thing. The thing I find interesting is that fans always want to sit up and cry about how soft the league has become. They want to cry about the rule changes. They've been crying for years about how soft and boring that the Pro Bowl is. So for me, it's like a contradiction for once an interview actually embodies the violent nature of the game that fans are crying for everyone to get angry. Maybe it's not everybody, maybe it's not real fans that were angry. Maybe it was just mainstream America that finally tuned in once the game was bigger. But I'm like, you gotta make up your mind. You either want the game to be violent, which will include the interviews, wrestling style, or you want the game to be nice, finesse, calm, and friendly, which the game of football is not. And they're trying to make it safer, but that's not how the game was designed. I personally think football is a stupid sport. As much as I love it, and I even play football, there's no way to really make it safe. So with the whole Richard Sherman thing, I wouldn't have conducted myself that way, but that's just not in my nature and my personality. When I was watching it, the first thing I thought was, he going off, this is funny. Whoever was talking about him shouldn't have talked about him. That's what happens. You know, I didn't even think that this would be a huge story. You know, it's kind of crazy because anybody that's been watching knows how Richard Sherman is. It just seems like so many other people had tuned in and made a big story out of what I thought was something insignificant. But I think he's handled it the right way by apologizing for taking the focus away from his team. But dang, it's been an annoying story that has taken over everything. So that's that. I'm gonna leave it at that. The other thing I find funny is that he talks too much. Yeah, I'm not gonna touch the whole thug racist thing. I'm gonna leave that alone. But I find it funny that he talks too much, and now it's a story that Marshawn Lynch isn't talking enough. Now I know that's a little bit different. That has to do with their contracts and how much they have to talk to the media and the press and all that. But it's just, bottom line is, I don't like Super Bowl week because they run out of things to talk about, and then we get oversaturated with stories that don't have to do with football, which is a shame and a travesty, seeing as how we have two really, really good teams that should make for a really, really good Super Bowl that I'm personally looking forward to. Now, speaking of non-football stories, I guess this is kind of football, well, this is football related. Another one that's been dominating the headlines is the weather. I personally think that games should be played inside, if possible. I don't want to see the football players slipping, dropping balls, snow everywhere, rain, sleet, anything like that. I sure wouldn't want to play in it. As a fan, I wouldn't want to be at a game like that. And as a player, I don't like the cold. I never liked playing in cold. And I was playing in Texas. When it got cold, when it got to 40s and 30s, I was like, shoot, I ain't trying to play. So I surely wouldn't want to be playing in negative weather. However, let me say this. For anyone that remembers, I believe it was 2010 when the Super Bowl came to Dallas. It snows in Dallas, very little. It's not a regular thing. Sometimes it does. But when the Super Bowl came to Dallas, it was a really bad snowstorm. Traveling was horrible. Remember the ice and the sheets of ice was falling off the roof, landing on fans. That was a total mess. So I say that to say, you know, that could almost happen anywhere. However, I do think that the Super Bowl should be playing in states and cities where it's less likely for that to happen. You know, the Miamis, the Arizonas, New Orleans, places like that. If we could get done for everyone, that would be great. So I'm gonna leave that alone. Hopefully the weather is good enough so that both teams could be at their best and there not be any reason anybody say, oh, well, the weather affected this or the weather affected that. Next, I want to talk about halftime. I'm not looking forward to seeing this halftime. My wife and her brother have been trying to convince me how great Bruno Mars is, and he may be. You know, he may have a style that I enjoy. But when I heard, what was the first song I heard? That Grenade song just was kind of really irritating. A couple other songs I heard, it wasn't my forte. So I'm not really looking forward to halftime, but I haven't been in a long time, and I'm very particular about the music I listen to. I'm sure they're never gonna have some jazz or funk or neo soul band or somebody doing some video game music, some classical, anything like that for halftime. I just don't see that ever happening. So I just gotta accept what they give me. Next, want to talk about the commercials. Some people, that's all they look forward to. I look forward to the game. Commercials are a good compliment, and we'll see. I haven't forgot about my gamers out there. Hopefully there's some cool trailers that we haven't seen yet, but I doubt it. It's usually just a bunch of car commercials and Doritos and GoDaddy. So we'll see how that goes. And lastly, the actual game itself, which is, again, not lastly to me. I'm looking forward to the game. We've got the NFL's best offense going against the NFL's best defense. So for me to choose, who do I think is going to win? Well, let me first say this. Outside of my hometown team of the Chicago Bears, I've been a Seahawks fan for the last few years. That's been my team besides the Bears. Really ever since I saw Marshawn Lynch. Once I was introduced to him, and then, you know, the beast mode run, I was like, oh man, this dude is raw. Then Russell Wilson came and I liked him a lot. And Richard Sherman, when I first started hearing about him, it was all negative. But I kept watching, I'm like, yo, this dude can play. And I'm like, everything he's saying, he's backing up, man. He's growing on me. How's this happening? So many people hate him, but I started liking him in the Legion of Boom. So I like that team. However, I do think that Peyton Manning has been on the mission all year. His weapons are, nearly unlike anything I've seen before, just with the amount of talent, the depth, and the consistency. That is a well-oiled machine, and that offense, I don't see that offense slowing down unless the weather is horrible. So picking with my head and with my heart, since this is near the end of the road for Peyton Manning, if not the end, it would really be nice if he could get that championship. You know, it's going to be tough against that Seattle defense, but I think they're going to continue to operate at a high level. I don't know if Seattle's offense will be able to keep up. They do. Denver's D does have to stop Marshawn Lynch, and Russell Wilson will keep them honest as well. However, I think, you know, Seattle has a young and very good team, very hungry team, but I think the Broncos will get it done this year. So my pick goes to the Denver Broncos. So Peyton Manning could get that second ring. People can stop talking all this noise about there being an asterisk next to his greatness. And hopefully the Seahawks will be back, you know, and have plenty more opportunities. That is, if the Bears are not the ones going for the Super Bowl.